Hello students, welcome to the class. So here we are going to discuss the topic, the synopsis on the another organic chemistry topic, that is alcohols, phenols and ethers, right? So we basically know that what are organic compounds, as we have discussed in our other topic too, that is aldehydes, ketones and carboxylic acids. Those compounds, what are alcohols, phenols, what are organic compounds generally? From a hydrocarbon, when you replace a hydrogen and substitute with some group, which you call it as a functional group, it becomes an organic compound. So organic compounds are nothing but derivatives of hydrocarbons, or you can say derivatives of alkanes, right? So how do we get these different, depending upon the functional group, we get different organic compounds, right? If the functional group is OH, then we call it as alcohol, or we call it as phenols. I'll tell you how we differentiate alcohols and phenols. It is already known to you, right? So alcohol or phenol. If the functional group is CHO, we call it as aldehyde. If the functional group is C double bond O, we call it as ketone. If the functional group is COOH, we call it as carboxylic acid. If the functional group is O, we call it as ethers, right? So these are the different organic compounds based upon the functional group. Yes, depending upon the functional group. So here what we are going to discuss is, we are going to discuss few synopsis on alcohols, phenols and ethers. So what is the basic term here? See, characteristic or functional group of primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols are CH2OH, CHOH and COH. So here alcohols are nothing but the organic compounds which are in which the OH group is attached to. The OH group is attached to aliphatic ring, aliphatic chain. If the OH group is attached to aliphatic chain, we call it as alcohol. Aliphatic chain, that is R group, alkyl group. Rather than saying aliphatic chain, I can say alkyl group. So if the OH group is attached to alkyl group, we call it as alcohol. That means the carbon atom should be, the carbon atom should be sp3 hybridized, right? It should be sp3 hybridized. Those are called as alcohols. So here we have types classification in alcohols. Depending upon the number of OH groups, alcohols are classified as monohydric alcohols, yes, dihydric alcohols, trihydric alcohols, and polyhydric alcohols. So we have four types: monohydric, dihydric, trihydric, and polyhydric alcohols. So monohydric means what? They contain only one OH group. Like for example, our methanol. So it is an example for monohydric alcohol. Dihydric alcohol, it contains two OH groups. And remember, the two OH groups can never be present on same carbon, on a single carbon. They should be always present on different carbon atoms. It might be adjacent, it might be any other carbon, but not on same carbon. Such compounds become unstable. So this is nothing but a dihydric alcohol, which is called ethylene glycol. Yes, two OH groups present on two adjacent carbon atoms. Trihydric alcohols, I can have example of CH2OH, CHOH, and then CH2OH. So this is the example of trihydric alcohol, which is nothing but commonly called glycerol, which is commonly called glycerol. Polyhydric alcohols, which contain more than three OH groups. For example, CH2OH, CHOH, 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 then CHOH, then CH2OH. This is nothing but sorbitol. What it is called? It is called sorbitol, right? So these are the classifications of monohydric, dihydric, trihydric and polyhydric alcohols. Okay. Now see, depending upon on which carbon this OH group is present, these monohydric alcohols are further classified. So how are monohydric alcohols further classified? Monohydric alcohols are further classified as primary alcohols, secondary alcohols and tertiary alcohols. If the OH is attached to primary carbon, that is primary alcohols, primary alcohols, yes, primary monohydric alcohols. So here the OH is attached to primary carbon, which in turn is not attached to any carbon, or which in turn is attached to only one carbon. If the OH is attached to secondary carbon, yes, so here it is secondary carbon. So this is secondary alcohol. or if the OH is attached to tertiary carbon, then we call it as tertiary alcohol. Yes, so you can see here we have primary alcohol, secondary alcohol, and tertiary alcohol. And in the first point itself, they have discussed, yes, CH2OH. Can you see here? So they are differentiated by CH2OH. Here it is 2 bonds and CHOH. Here it is 3 bonds and COH. So this is the classification where you can explain monohydric, dihydric, and trihydric alcohols. Now, what alcohols form the homologous series with the general molecular formula CnH2n plus 1 OH, or you can even write it as CnH2n plus 2 O. Both the ways can be written. So this is the general molecular formula of alcohols where N starts from 1. That means you can have an alcohol with single carbon atom also, and that is nothing but methyl alcohol, which is also called methanol, Yes, and generally they are represented as ROH, where R is an alkyl group and OH is the functional group for alcohols. And the suffix used is OL. So when you are writing IUPAC nomenclature, if it is one carbon atom alcohol, then we write it as methanol. And numbering should be done such that the OH functional group gets the least number. And that is all you all have already studied in your PU1 as well as PU2 topics. So not to discuss much about it. Next point, dihydric alcohols are also known as glycols. You can see the example which I had taken, ethylene glycol. The reason is because of their sweet taste. They are also called glycols. In IUPAC system, glycols are named as diols. Monohydric alcohols, common name. Dihydric alcohols are named as diols. Trihydric alcohols are named as triols. Yes. Yes, so if you are writing the name diols and their class name is alkane diol, like for example, if I write example like CH2, here there is a OH group and here there is a OH group, then how do I name it? I name it as 2 carbon atoms, ethane 1, 2 diol. So you can see here alkane diol. See, since the suffix is starting with a consonant, I have kept the letter E as it is. In hydrocarbonation oxidation reaction, alkene is treated with diborane followed by treatment with water in presence of H2O2 where alcohol is formed. Yes, okay. The dehydration of secondary alcohols and tertiary alcohols occurs in accordance with Sayzeff's rule. We have already seen all these learned these reactions. Yes, that is the more highly substituted alkene is always the major product. Okay. Then Victor Meyer's test. We'll see this test once again. This test is also called as RBW test. Yes. So what does Victor Meyer test say? It is based on difference behavior of primary, secondary, and tertiary nitroalkanes towards nitrous test. Okay. Primary alcohols produce a red color. Secondary alcohols produce a blue color. Tertiary alcohols produce no color. That's the reason it is this reaction. As I said, primary alcohols produce which color? They produce red color. Secondary alcohols produce blue color, and tertiary alcohols do not produce any color. Colorless is nothing but white. Therefore, Victor Meyer test is also called as RBW test. So, Victor Meyer test is also called as RBW test. Yes, you should remember. It is for differentiation of primary, secondary, and tertiary alcohols. Apart from that, you have one more test that is nothing but Lucas test. What is Lucas reagent? Lucas reagent is nothing but concentrated HCl in anhydrous zinc chloride. How does it react with primary, secondary, tertiary alcohols? Primary alcohols, there is no formation. Tertiary alcohols, the cloudiness or you can say turbidity is formed immediately, right? If you take secondary alcohols, cloudiness appears, that is turbidity appears after 5 minutes. Cloudiness or turbidity is nothing but, students, when you put chalk powder in water, you can see water getting cloudy, right? Clumsy gets turned. That is nothing but turbidity. So when Lucas reagent is treated with tertiary alcohol, immediately cloudiness appears. That is turbidity appears immediately. For secondary alcohols, turbidity appears in 5 minutes, after 5 minutes. And for turbidity, for primary alcohols, there is no turbidity or cloudiness formed. So this is how we distinguish primary, secondary, and tertiary alcohols using Lucas reagent. Then ethanol Ethanol is used as par alcohol. So what do you mean by par alcohol? It is a mixture of 20% absolute alcohol and 80% petrol, petrol in the form of gasoline, with benzene or tetraline as co-solvents, yes, substitute solvents. Next, conversion of ethylene into ethylene glycol by the action of cold dilute alkaline KMnO4 is called hydroxylation. So you are converting ethylene. Ethylene is alkene into ethylene glycol, that is ethane 1,2 diol. This reaction in presence of alkaline KMnO4, it is called hydroxylation. Okay. Ketones are reduced to secondary alcohols by aluminium isopropoxide in isopropyl alcohol. You need to remember this, some of the named reactions. We are going to see these reactions again when in the next slides, but please remember some of these reactions. This will help us to solve a few questions. Okay. So ketones are reduced to secondary alcohols. Yes, obviously, ketones are reduced to secondary alcohols. Aldehydes are reduced to primary alcohols. So here, if you see, ketones are reduced to secondary alcohols by aluminium isopropoxide in isopropyl alcohol. The reduction by this method is known as MPV reduction, that is Mervin-Pondroff-Verley reduction. MPV reduction. Okay. Okay. When esters or phenols are heated with aluminium chloride, the acyl group migrates from phenolic oxygen to an ortho and para position of the ring, thus yielding a ketone. This reaction is called Fries rearrangement. What it is called? Fries rearrangement. Students, I am repeating. Please do remember these named reactions. One is Mervin-Pondroff-Verley reduction. Another one is Fries rearrangement. Next, treatment of a phenol with chloroform and aqueous hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, introduces an aldehydic group CHO onto the aromatic ring, generally ortho to the OH group. This is called Reamer-Tiemann reaction. What it is called? Reamer-Tiemann reaction. In Kolb's-Smith reaction, sodium phenoxide is heated with In Kolb's-Smith reduction, sodium phenoxide is heated with carbon dioxide at 390 to 410 Kelvin and at a pressure of 4 to 7 atmospheres. What is formed? Sodium silicate is formed as a major product. Okay. Then ethers. Ethers are what? They contain divalent oxygen, right? They contain divalent oxygen as the functional group. So ethers are the organic compounds having general formula ROR dash, where R and R dash, they can be same, they can be different. Both can be aliphatic, both can be aromatic, or both can be aliphatic as well as aromatic. If R and R dash are same, then we call them as simple ethers. If R and R dash are different, we call them as mixed ethers. If both R and R dash are alkyl groups, we call them as aliphatic ethers. But if at least one R or R dash is a benzene ring, we call it as aromatic ethers. Okay. Williamson's synthesis. Williamson's synthesis of ethers involves the treatment of an alkyl halide with a suitable sodium alkoxide. Okay, so now alcohols. So alcohols are what? They are bent molecules. The carbon atom is linked, that is oxygen of OH group is sp3 hybridized. I have already told you, if the OH group is attached to sp3 carbon, then only we call them as alcohols. Otherwise, they become something else, and that something else is phenols, and we'll discuss it when we take up phenols. The central oxygen atom in alcohols is also sp3 hybridized. Please do remember this. The bond angle in any alcohol is 108.5 degrees, and therefore we call alcohols as the bent molecules. Okay. So in sp3 hybridization, oxygen, what is the hybridization of oxygen? 2s2, 2p4, correct? So 2p4, how do we write it? We write it as 2px2, 2py1, 2pz1. These orbitals, they hybridize to form sp3 hybrid orbitals. Okay. In these four orbitals, two containing one electron each and two containing two electrons each. Therefore, oxygen has got how many lone pairs? Tell me. Oxygen has got two lone pairs. Those two lone pairs are not involved in any bonding. Therefore, we call them as non-bonded electrons or lone pair of electrons. Yes. And because of this lone pair effect, The bond angle of the tetrahedral oxygen atom is lesser than the normal bond angle. See, this is a very good question what you can ask students, because when hybridization of both the atoms is sp3, the expected geometry is a tetrahedral, correct? But since if you look at the alcohols, oxygen, since it is having two lone pairs of electrons, you know that by VSEPR theory, valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, there is lone pair repulsions which are much stronger than lone pair repulsions, which are much stronger than bond pair repulsions, right? So since all these pairs are present in alcohols, so because of this repulsion, the bond angle is not a tetrahedral angle, that is 104.5 degrees. Instead it becomes 108.5 degrees, and therefore it is having a bent structure. This is nothing but a distorted structure, we say. Distorted is what? Disturbed structure. Okay, so this is also expected question. Yes, okay, fine. So here these are nothing but simple concepts. Now coming to methods of preparations of alcohols. We can prepare alcohols from alkyl halides, that is haloalkanes. The reaction is said to be hydrolysis. Alkyl halides are hydrolyzed with aqueous KOH. Very important. See, why do we take aqueous KOH? See, only when you take aqueous KOH, students, only when we consider aqueous KOH, what happens? KOH is going to dissociate. KOH is going to dissociate as K plus OH minus. That means we are going to get a nucleophile, right? So if you take alcoholic KOH does not dissociate into OH minus. So instead of nucleophilic substitution reaction, what do we expect in case of alcoholic KOH? In case of alcoholic KOH, there occurs elimination reaction, students. Therefore, you need to be very careful when they have shown you the reaction, whether they have mentioned you aqueous KOH or they have mentioned you alcoholic KOH. It makes a lot of difference. Okay, so here our point is, when alkyl halides are treated with aqueous KOH, or you can take moist silver oxide or silver hydroxide or just water, it forms what? It forms alcohols. So what is this reaction called? This reaction is called nucleophilic substitution. That is, this halogen X is substituted by OH group, nucleophile. So nucleophilic substitution is happening. Therefore, we call it as a nucleophilic substitution. And one more point to remember, you need not by heart this reaction. The number of carbon atoms taken in alkyl halide, the same number of carbon atoms will be there in the alcohol. So if I give a simple question like, when chloromethane, when chloromethane is treated with, is hydrolyzed, what is the product? The product is what? Alcohol with so many carbon atoms. Meth stands for one carbon, so we will get methanol. Directly you should be knowing the answer without writing also. So the corresponding alcohol is formed, we can say, the same number of carbon atoms. Okay, fine. So here they have given you the general reaction. You can look at the general reaction also. Alkyl halide, KOH is given, you get alcohol. So what type of alkyl halide you are taking, the same type of alcohol you get. If you are taking secondary alkyl halide, you are going to get secondary alcohol. If you are taking tertiary alkyl halide, you are going to get tertiary alcohol. The next reaction is from alkenes. So for alkenes, what you're going to do? You are going to do hydration. Yes, you are going to do hydration. So hydration is an addition reaction. Yes, so for addition, which rule is followed? We follow Markovnikov rule. Yes, so H2O, hydration is addition of water. When alkenes are treated with water in presence of dilute sulfuric acid, yes, H2O will add to alkene, and addition always occurs at the double bond. Please do remember. Now, how do this addition occur? Yes, you can explain this reaction, students, in two ways. The two ways what I can explain is, see, first I'll consider RCH double bond CH2. Now I'm going to add water, and you know that water has H plus OH minus. Yes, in presence of dilute H2SO4, that is acid. So negative part, what does Markovnikov's rule say? the negative part of the attacking reagent goes to that double bonded carbon which contains less number of hydrogens. So it will go to this carbon, and H plus goes to this carbon. So what do we write? We write RCHOH single bond CH3, or you can write the other product also, RCH2 CH2OH. So this product becomes major and this product becomes minor according to Markovnikov's rule. According to Markovnikov's rule. So you have to remember this. Yes. So major and minor product both should be known. But if they are asking for, usually they ask for major product, that time you should remember that we have gone according to the Markovnikov's rule. Fine. Okay. Then reduction, next is by reduction of carbonyl compounds. We have already seen this reaction many a times. Whenever carbonyl compounds, that is your aldehyde, is subjected to reduction, we get alcohol, that is primary alcohol. And when ketone is subjected for reduction, we get secondary alcohol, right? Depends on the reducing agent used. Okay. Even you can say carboxylic acid when subjected for reduction using strong reducing agent, we get alcohols. You can say it like this also. We get alcohols. So here are few reactions. They have taken aldehyde. Reduction means you are using reducing agent. So lithium aluminum hydride is a reducing agent. Sodium in ethanol is a reducing agent. Sodium hydride is also a reducing agent. What happens? It will provide us atomic hydrogens, or you can say it will provide us nascent hydrogens. Yes. So this nascent hydrogens will add up here. So one hydrogen goes to carbon, another hydrogen goes to oxygen. So what do we get? RCH2OH. So we get alcohol. So here they have taken aldehyde. We have got primary alcohol. If you take ketone, you will get secondary alcohol. Yes. Then what about tertiary alcohol? By reduction of carbonyl compounds, we cannot obtain tertiary alcohols. Remember. So reduction of primary carbonyl compounds is only for preparation of primary and secondary alcohols. Please remember this. Reduction of carbonyl compounds is for preparation of only primary and secondary alcohols. By reduction of carbonyl compounds, we cannot prepare tertiary alcohols. The next reaction is reduction of acid and its derivatives, as I have told you. When you reduce carboxylic acid using a very strong reducing agent, lithium aluminum hydride, we get actually 4 hydrogens. So what happens? 2 hydrogens are added up to carbon and to oxygen, and we get alcohols. Remember here, whether it is an aldehyde or a ketone or a carboxylic acid or acid derivative, whatever it is, the number of carbon atoms in the reactant, the same number of carbon atoms in the product. You will get an alcohol with same number of carbon atoms. But the only thing what you need to remember is, if you are having an aldehyde, you will get primary alcohol. If you are having a ketone, you will get secondary alcohol. Carboxylic acid, you will get alcohols. Even acid chlorides, the second reaction there is nothing but acid chloride. When it is subjected for reduction, we get alcohol. Even esters, when it is subjected for reduction, we get alcohols. Acid and hydrides also, when you subject it for reduction, we get alcohols. Yes. So here you can explain the reaction very well. So aldehyde RCHO for reduction using 2 hydrogens, I will get RCH2OH. Yes. If I take ketone RCOR dash using reaction, I'll get RCHOH R dash. I'll get alcohol. RCOOH. Yes, here I need 4 hydrogens, reducing agent. I'll get RCH2OH, alcohol again. RCOCl, acid chloride, correct? When you subject it for reduction, I get RCH2OH, alcohol again. Then ester, RC double bond O, OR dash. This is ester, right? When I subject it for reduction, I get, see, this bond breaks like this. So here oxygen minus carbon plus. So here I get RCH2OH plus R dash OH, 2 molecules of alcohols. Then when you take acid chlorides, R C double bond O, O C double bond O, R dash. Yes. So what do we get? Here we need 8 atomic hydrogens. So I get R. So the bond breaks like this. So R CH2OH, such 2 molecules, and there is intermolecular elimination of water. Even amides, R C double bond O NH2. When you subject it for reduction, hydrogens, so I get R CH2OH plus NH3. So these are all reduction reactions for reduction of carbonyl compounds or acids or derivatives of acids into alcohols. Very important reactions. Fine. Okay. Acid amide. Okay. Next is from Grignard's reagents. What are Grignard's reagents? They are nothing but alkyl magnesium halides. So primary alcohols with oxygen. See that. By action of Grignard's reagent on oxygen, they form alcohols of same number of carbon atoms. Yes, what we need to do is, Grignard's reagent is first treated with oxygen. We get ROMgX, which on further hydrolysis, we get alcohol. So how many carbon atoms are there in Grignard's reagent? The same number of carbon atoms will be there in alcohols. Okay. Then with formaldehyde, when Grignard's reagent is treated with formaldehyde, we have discussed this reaction in a previous topic also. With formaldehyde, when Grignard's reagent is treated, followed by hydrolysis, what do we get? We get alcohol, that is primary alcohol. If you remember this reaction, Grignard's reagent plus formaldehyde, we get primary alcohol. And further you should subject it for hydrolysis, okay, acid hydrolysis. Then Grignard's reagent with any aldehyde except formaldehyde, living formaldehyde, if you take any aldehyde followed by acid hydrolysis, we get secondary alcohol, right? And then Grignard's reagent plus any ketone, you can take any ketone followed by acid hydrolysis, we get tertiary alcohol. Yes. So Grignard's reagent with oxygen, and one more reaction what we saw, Grignard's reagent plus oxygen, first we get ROMgX. This is subjected for hydrolysis where we get ROH plus MgXOH. So these are the reactions with the Grignard's reagent for preparation of alcohols. Next, with ethylene oxide. Ethylene oxide is an ether, cyclic ether. Yeah. So when Grignard's reagent is treated with ethylene oxide, the ring opens up. And then followed by hydrolysis, we get alcohol. Yes. The alcohol has 2 carbon atoms more than the alkyl group. So how in the Grignard's reagent, how many carbon atoms are there? When you treat Grignard's reagent with ethylene oxide, you will get an alcohol with the 2 carbon atoms more. Yes. Okay. Then secondary and tertiary alcohols, we have already seen. If you treat it with any aldehyde except formaldehyde, you will get secondary alcohol. If you treat Grignard's reagent with any ketone, you will get tertiary alcohols. It is the best method for preparation of alcohols because we can prepare every type of alcohol here. You can get primary, you can get secondary, you can get tertiary. Fine. Next is from primary amines, RNH2. When primary amines are treated with nitrous acid, HNO2. Nitrous acid is a highly unstable acid, so usually the reaction is carried out at a temperature 273 to 278 Kelvin. Yes. So, or you can say 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. So when amines are, especially primary amines are treated with nitrous acid in presence of HCl, you get alcohols. And you should remember there is liberation of nitrogen gas. So in this reaction, if we take ethylamine, then the main product will be ethanol. While if we take methylamine, the main product will be dimethyl ether. Please do remember this point. Yes, hydrolysis of esters. We have seen just now. Ethers, ethers when heated with dilute sulfuric acid under pressure are hydrolyzed to corresponding alcohols. Yes, R oxygen comes out and we get R OH and then R dash OH. Then coming to the properties of alcohols. Alcohols are colorless with characteristic alcoholic smell. Yes, they are liquids. They are soluble in water. See, remember alcohols are soluble in water due to hydrogen bonding. These are partially soluble in organic solvents. Okay, alcohols form hydrogen bonding with water. Therefore, they remain soluble in water. They are liquids. They are liquid in nature up to 12 carbon atoms. Melting point and boiling points, remember this, they are directly proportional to molecular mass. As molecular mass increases, the melting and boiling point also increases, but it is inversely proportional to the number of branches. That means isomeric alcohols have got lower boiling points than, as the branches increase, the boiling point, melting and boiling point decreases. So inversely proportional. Yes. Okay. Then boiling point of alcohols are higher than equivalent ethers. Why? Why they are higher than equivalent ethers? The reason is, students, due to hydrogen bonding. Alcohols do form hydrogen bonding with water. So do form intermolecular hydrogen bonding, whereas ethers do not form intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Yes, you can show them also. You are already well known with the reaction. So if you see there, the alcohols, how do we represent alcohols? ROH. The oxygen of one alcoholic group of one molecule forms intermolecular hydrogen bonding. The hydrogen of one alcoholic group forms intermolecular hydrogen bonding with oxygen of other alcoholic molecule, right? So this intermolecular hydrogen bonding gives it a more boiling point. That only, if you see ethers do not have the tendency to form hydrogen bond because of this alkyl groups. Yes. So because of hydrogen bonding, that to which hydrogen bonding? It is because of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So because of intermolecular hydrogen bonding, the boiling point of alcohols are higher than that of boiling points of ethers. Then moving to the chemical properties. Chemical reactions of alcohols are classified into following three types. Reactions involving cleavage of OH bond, that is breaking of OH bond. So when breaking of OH bond takes place, what does that mean? Hydrogen is given out. So can I call this reaction as acidic reaction? Because acids are those which give hydrogens, right? So here there is cleavage of OH group. That means hydrogen is coming out, right? Therefore, this is nothing but acidic nature of alcohols. Yes, so alcohols are acidic in nature. That means when an alcohol is treated with a metal, it will form salt and liberate hydrogen gas. That means alcohols show up acidic character by showing the displacement reaction. Alcohols displace hydrogen gas when treated with when treated with metals, forming salts. Yes. Now, coming to the types of alcohols, primary, secondary, tertiary, in which case the acidic nature is strong. A very important sort of question. In which case it is strong, whether it is strong in primary alcohols, whether it is strong in secondary alcohols, or whether it is strong in tertiary alcohols. See, acidic nature means what? Removal, getting out of this of hydrogen atom. Where hydrogen atom is lost very easily, where there is less steric hindrance, So you can see there in primary alcohol, there is only single R group. So that will not make it a very difficult to lose the hydrogen atom. But if in case of secondary alcohols, there are two R groups. Yes. In case of tertiary alcohols, there are three R groups attached to the carbon. So, therefore, removal of hydrogen here becomes very difficult. So, acidic nature is more in primary alcohols, then comes secondary alcohols, and then comes tertiary alcohols. So, how do we explain this? Alcohols show up acidic nature by displacement reaction. By displacement reaction. They displace hydrogen gas. They displace hydrogen gas when treated with metals, when treated with metals and form corresponding salts. Those salts are called sodium alkoxides. They are called sodium alkoxides. So they are called sodium alkoxide. And the order of reactivity, acidic order, methyl alcohol comes first, that is methanol. Then comes primary alcohol, then comes secondary alcohol. Next is reaction with carboxylic acid. That reaction is called esterification reaction. Yes. When alcohols are treated with carboxylic acid, please do remember students, both the OH groups are involved. The hydrogen of alcohol comes out. There is elimination of water. Yes. Dehydration occurs. Hydrogen of alcohol comes out and OH group of carboxylic acid comes out. And it forms a ester in presence of concentrated H2SO4. This, since it is forming ester, we call this reaction as esterification reaction. We call it as esterification reaction. Okay. Then reaction of acid derivatives. When alcohols are treated with acid chlorides or acid anhydrides, it will form ester. In presence of concentrated H2SO4, it is going to form esters only. Okay. So you can see that there is elimination of HX, or here there is elimination of carboxylic acid. Then reaction with ethylene oxide. When alcohols are treated with ethylene oxide, it will form diols. Further, if you treat it with another molecule of alcohol, it will form dialkoxy alkanes. 1, 2 dialkoxy alkanes. Next is reaction with diazomethane. Reaction with diazomethane. Diazomethane is nothing but CH2N2, that is CH2N triple bond N. When alcohols are treated with diazomethane, it forms diazomethane ether. Diazomethane ether. Reaction of Grignard's reagent. Very, very, very typical reaction, very important reaction. When alcohol is, see, we have seen preparation of alcohols from Grignard's reagents. One is with oxygen followed by hydrolysis. Another one is with carbonyl compounds. That is, when Grignard's reagent is treated with formaldehyde, we will get primary alcohol. When Grignard's reagent is treated with any aldehyde except formaldehyde, you will get secondary alcohol. When Grignard's reagent is treated with ketone, you will get tertiary alcohol. Here, the question is, how do alcohols react with Grignard's reagent? So when alcohols are treated with Grignard's reagent, it forms alkanes. What it forms? It forms alkanes. Yes. So then reaction with ketenes. We already know what are ketenes. Carbonyl group is carbonyl carbon is double bonded to another carbon. That compound is called ketene. When alcohols are treated with ketene, so you can see there is oxygen alcohols in oxygen in alcohols. The oxygen is having partial negative charge because of its electronegativity, and hydrogen has partial positive charge. In ketene, there is a carbonyl group. When electrons, oxygen being more electronegative, partial negative charge, and there is partial positive charge. So if the bond breaks here, what happens? So I can write here CH2, then double bond remains as it is. Carbon, single bond, oxygen will be bonded to what? Oxygen will be bonded to hydrogen. And this oxygen will be this oxygen. I'm talking about this oxygen with OR. Yes. So this oxygen will be bonded to carbon. Correct. So this is nothing but you can see here there is a double bond and there is OH group. Such compounds are called enols and they are unstable. So what will happen? They will tautomerize. Hydrogen displacement occurs. How? This hydrogen goes to the adjacent carbon and the double bond shifts here. So what do I get? I get CH3, C double bond O and then OR. This is called keto form. Yes. And this type of isomerism is called tautomerism. what it is called, tautomerism. Yes, enol form always tautomerizes to keto form, therefore giving us ester. Yes, next. So this is the reaction of alcohol with ketene. Next is reaction involving cleavage of COH bond. That means OH is coming out. That means it is nothing but nucleophilic substitution. What are these reactions? They are nucleophilic substitution reactions. Nucleophilic substitution. So order of reactivity for this, we can easily explain nucleophilic substitution, right? OH is substituted by some nucleophile, but here order of reactivity should be known. It is tertiary alcohol, first highest reactive, then comes secondary alcohol, and then comes primary alcohol. SN2 reaction, SN1 reaction, right? Tertiary, then comes secondary, and then comes primary alcohol. So first is reaction with dry HX, hydrogen halide. HX is nothing but you can take hydrogen iodide, hydrogen bromide, or hydrogen chloride. Yeah, and that order reactivity of halogen acid is also shown. This reaction is called Groove's process. When alcohols are treated with HX in presence of anhydrous zinc chloride, corresponding haloalkanes are formed. Corresponding haloalkanes are formed. So this is nucleophilic substitution. Then with PCl5, when alcohols are treated with phosphorus pentachloride, we get corresponding chloroalkane. You cannot say haloalkanes here because we are taking phosphorus pentachloride. We get corresponding chloroalkane plus POCl3 plus HCl. Then reaction with PCl3. When alcohol is treated with phosphorus trichloride, here please remember you can use only phosphorus trichloride, that is stable. But if you want to go for here, so this reaction gives us chloroalkane only and hydrogen phosphide. But if you say, what if I take PCl, PBr3 and PI3? See students, PBr3 and PI3 are highly unstable. Yes, so you cannot use them directly. You cannot write this reaction like this. Three molecules of alcohol plus I'll take PBr3 and I will get the reaction as three molecules of bromo alkane plus H3PO4. No, absolutely not, because PBr3 is unstable. So what we do is we take alcohol and instead of taking PBr3, we'll take a red phosphorus and treat it with bromine. This red phosphorus and treated with bromine. This red phosphorus and bromine within the reaction, they get converted to PBr3 and that will react with alcohol to give us RBr, three molecules, right? Such reactions are called in situ reactions. What they are called? In situ reactions. So please do remember they are called in situ reactions. Similarly with iodine, I cannot take PI3 directly. I'll take red phosphorus and I2. That will get converted to PI3 and then I can treat it. Then that will react with alcohol within the reaction itself to give Ri. Such reactions are called what? In situ reactions. That is, the unstable compounds are prepared during the reaction. Yes. Next, with thionyl chloride, SOCl2, reaction is said to be Darzon's reaction. So when alcohols are treated with thionyl chloride in presence of a mild base, that is pyridine, we get corresponding chloroalkane. And this is a very useful reaction because the byproducts are SO2 and HCl, which are gases. They escape out very easily, leaving behind pure chloroalkane. Next is with ammonia. When alcohols are treated with ammonia, yes, when alcohols are treated with ammonia in presence of anhydrous zinc chloride at 300 degrees Celsius, we get amines. Yes, we get alkyl amines. That is nothing but primary amines. So these are the nucleophilic substitution reactions. Reaction with sulfuric acid. When alcohol is treated with sulfuric acid, there is intermolecular elimination of two molecules of water and we get diethyl sulfate. We get diethyl sulfate. So there are examples. Ethyl hydrogen sulfate also is obtained and that gets converted with 2-diethyl ether. Then General reactions of alcohols. The first one is very commonly studied reaction, that is oxidation. Alcohols, if you take primary alcohols, they are oxidized to aldehydes. If you are taking mild oxidizing agent like PCC in methylene chloride, primary alcohol gets oxidized to aldehyde. If you are taking strong oxidizing agent, then primary alcohols get oxidized to aldehydes, which further get oxidized to carboxylic acids. Secondary alcohols initially form respective ketones, but ketones are very susceptible for oxidation. So very slowly they will get oxidized, forming acid of less carbon atoms. So oxidation of ketones is slightly difficult than aldehyde due to stability. So we need to use a very stronger oxidizing agent. Tertiary alcohols, they are very resistant to oxidation under normal conditions. But if you are taking the strongest oxidizing agent like chromic acid and dilute nitric acid, then they form less carbon ketone. They will form a ketone with less carbon atoms. For oxidation of primary alcohol, acidic KMnO4 is used as oxidant, whereas for oxidation of secondary alcohols, acidic K2Cr2O7 is used. Please do remember this. Next, reduction. Alcohols are subjected for reduction. That is when they are treated with hydrogen iodide in presence of red phosphorus. Red phosphorus is an allotropic form of phosphorus. At 150 degrees Celsius, we get alkanes. We get what? We get alkanes. Yes, and there is liberation of iodine gas. Third one, dehydrogenation. Primary alcohols in presence of copper and zinc oxide at 300 degrees Celsius. Primary alcohols undergo dehydrogenation, that is elimination of hydrogen, H2, OH hydrogen as well as hydrogen of alpha carbon atom. So we call it as alpha elimination to give aldehydes. If you are taking primary alcohol, there is aldehyde obtained by dehydrogenation. If you are taking secondary alcohol, there is ketone obtained. And if you are taking tertiary alcohol, alkene is obtained. Please do remember, students, by dehydrogenation, copper, preheated copper at 300 degrees Celsius. Sometimes they mention 350 degrees Celsius also. Primary alcohol undergoes dehydrogenation to give aldehyde. Secondary alcohol undergoes dehydrogenation to give ketone. Tertiary and alcohol undergoes dehydrogenation to give alkene. Why is the difference? The difference is because of this. If you take primary alcohol, there occurs a dehydrogenation, that is removal of hydrogen in presence of copper at 350 Kelvin or 370 Kelvin temperature to give you aldehyde. Yes, because it follows alpha elimination. Yes, if you take secondary alcohol, there is a dehydrogenation in presence of copper at 370 Kelvin and you get ketone. This also follows alpha elimination. If you take tertiary alcohol, then there is dehydrogenation in presence of copper at 370 Kelvin. There is no dehydrogenation, these students. There is dehydration. Therefore, we get ketone. We get ketone. Yes. Next, dehydration. The elimination of water from a compound is known as dehydration. So the alcohols on dehydration, they yield alkene. The order K of case of dehydration is tertiary alcohols undergo dehydration very easily, then comes secondary and then comes primary. The process of dehydration is done by heating alcohols with concentrated sulfuric acid. So when you carry out dehydration of alcohols, you get alkenes. What do we get? We get alkenes. Okay. So all remember, we get corresponding alkenes. When you carry out dehydration, we get corresponding alkenes. Then oxidation through Fenton's reagent. Higher and branched alcohols are converted into diols through Fenton's reagent. What is Fenton's reagent? Ferrous sulfate plus hydrogen peroxide is called Fenton's reagent. Yes. So they are converted to diols. Self-condensation. When alcohol is heated with sodium methoxide, then for self-condensation, they convert into higher alcohols. So here is the reaction. This reaction is called Gerbert's reaction. Gerbert's reaction. Self-condensation reaction. You can see alcohols two molecules of alcohols, you heat it with sodium ethoxide. They will undergo self-condensation, that is elimination of water, to give us higher alcohols, higher containing more number of carbon atoms, and that reaction is called Gerbert's reaction. Okay, distinguishing tests. By oxidation reaction, we can distinguish primary alcohols give aldehydes, secondary alcohols give ketones, tertiary alcohols do not undergo oxidation. By catalytic hydrogenation, dehydrogenation, primary alcohols give aldehydes, secondary alcohols give ketones because of alpha elimination and they undergo dehydrogenation, whereas tertiary alcohols they give alkenes because there is no alpha elimination, instead there is beta elimination through dehydration. There occurs dehydration. Then Lucas test. Mixture of anhydrous zinc chloride and concentrated H2SO4 is called Lucas reagent. We have already discussed. Tertiary alcohols gives white TPT, or you can say turbidity with Lucas reagent within no time. So immediately it gives. Secondary alcohols takes 5 minutes or more than 5 minutes, whereas primary alcohols do not give any precipitate. Victor's-Mears test, which is also known as red, blue, white test. With primary alcohols, it will give red precipitate, secondary alcohols, blue precipitate, tertiary alcohols, no precipitate. Yes. So here is the test. So what is the test? Alcohols, red phosphorus and iodine, it gives us iodide. With silver nitrate, it gives us nitrate. Yes. So this is the test which is called Victor-Mears test. Yes. Difference between methanol and ethanol. When CH3OH is heated with Cu, it will give formalin like smell, whereas ethanol does not give formalin like smell. When methanol is heated with salicylic acid in H2SO4, methyl salicylate is formed, which has an odor like wintergreen oil. In ethanol, it is not formed. It does not give haloform iodoform test. It gives haloform iodoform test. Yes. Phenols we'll just discuss in our next video. Please go through everything. Thank you.